Hey Hotshots, Jess with Emotional Fire Academy here today to talk about why HSPs self-isolate and what to try instead. Subscribe if you are an HSP looking to evolve this year. There's still some year left to do that. Welcome to Emotional Fire Academy. This is what we do here. We talk about exiting the bullshit traits of being a highly sensitive person, to not put it so lightly. Now I am this week releasing an exciting new free training series called Transcend Your Sensitivity, where I'm going to give you my absolute best tool for emotional regulation. So when you want to start kind of taking back your experience as an HSP, this tool is where I start. This is what I do. This is what I teach my clients. So if you want that free tool, go ahead and check out the information box below, the description box, to access it. It's awesome. It's going to change your life if you do it, if you practice it every day. So, why do HSPs self-isolate? Why do we do this? Now, if this is a coping mechanism that really works for you, if you really like self-isolating, if you're used to it and it's just something that's just part of the status quo, that's fine. But if you're someone, if there's this deep sense of like, I know there's a better way to do this inside of you, these are the people I'm talking to today. That's kind of what I felt when I always had to resort to doing self-isolation. And I want to give you kind of a bigger picture view on this today of what exactly is happening when we do this as a coping mechanism. So we're doing it essentially to reduce psychic entropy. What is psychic entropy? Psychic entropy is all the stuff going on in our heads, all the chaos and the problems and the dilemmas. And so when we self-isolate, we are withdrawing ourselves from that. We're trying to withdraw from the world so that we don't have to deal with all that stuff, so we can reduce the psychic entropy. And self-isolation is a way of doing that in a sensory way. So we are literally sequestering in our house, in a dark room, and however we do it, alone, to just kind of shut the world out. So it's a very sensory thing. It's where, we don't want to be hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, looking at the outside world. And so we withdraw from it. So this is a very sensory-based technique. Now, that's understandable. That's just, again, something HSPs do naturally. We stumble into this coping mechanism and it seems to work for us. What we might find, though, is that we'll need more and more isolation because as we sequester from the world, to cut down on that sensory info, we find that becomes maybe becoming our primary coping mechanism. So we need more and more of it to, get the same effect. We find ourselves spending more and more time alone. And I really think this artificially creates a lot of the introversion found in the HSP world. It's just kind of a natural effect of trying to handle these traits. And myself being kind of an ambivert, I really do think that more HSPs would be outgoing if they overcame some of these negative traits and then the associated coping mechanisms. So I'm going to offer you a chance to do just that if that's what you're looking for today. So let's back up a little bit more. In the book, How Emotions Are Made, Lisa Feldman Barrett talks about our experience of life, our perceptual experience, and how 90% of it is predictive and 10% is sensory. So 10% of the data that we are receiving from the world, 10% of our overall experience is the data we receive from the world through our senses. The other 90% is predictive. And our prediction of the world, our prediction of what we're going to experience, our prediction, and then having those predictions come true by filtering that sensory experience through our predictions and just proving ourselves to be right. Now you can look at this another way. Other teachers may use the language of, this is our conscious, the 10% is our conscious experience, and the 90% is our unconscious experience. So what is in the 90%? Those are our beliefs. So we're dealing with a problem by self-isolating. We're only removing 10% of what is happening. We're dealing with 10%. So a much more effective way to come at this is to tackle the 90%, is to really affect change at the 90% level, at the beliefs level. Because what you believe to be true about the world and yourself really becomes self-fulfilling. That's predictive. You're predicting what you think to be true, and thus it unfolds as true unless you get evidence otherwise. And you really pay attention to that sensory evidence and then reassess your beliefs. So essentially, self-isolation is only dealing with a tiny percentage of the problem. So what do we do to change our beliefs? If we want to change our beliefs, the beliefs that make us self-isolate, they may sound familiar to you. These were the ones that I held. Maybe yours are a little bit different. Maybe they're worded a little differently, but the world is a hard place. I get easily overwhelmed in the world. The world is overwhelming. The world is insensitive. Other people are so insensitive. I have to protect myself. I have to protect myself against the world, right? Those are kind of the foundational beliefs when we need to resort to isolation. So how do we start to change those beliefs? Because if we change them, our need to self-isolate kind of goes away. You know, if we feel comfortable in the world, if we're at peace with the world constantly, the self-isolating is a symptom of kind of these beliefs that are kind of pessimistic, kind of self-protective, and just kind of make the world a big, scary place that needs to be withdrawn from. I understand if these are the beliefs you hold. I once held these beliefs too, and I'm telling you that there is a different way. So belief change we can go about belief change in so many different ways. So many different ways. I mean, if you just Google belief change on YouTube, you're going to get a million teachers with a million different ways of language. One of my a belief can change in an instant with a piece of right information, right? Maybe you have a thought about someone and who they are, and then you find out something about them, and it totally changes what you believe about that person, either for the good or for bad. So our beliefs can change in an instant with the right amount of information. Our beliefs can also gradually change over time. This is the one that I like to use. I think it's pretty simple, and it kind of leads us into having more self-discipline to really continue to choose what we want to believe. And really the self-discipline in this is just kind of starting to shed those beliefs that are similar to the world is a big, scary place. The world is insensitive. The world is going to hell in the handbasket. Everything is horrible out there, and I'm safe in here. Starting to just gently nudge those aside and release them, because our beliefs are, again, like layers of an onion. We start peeling back these layers, and you notice the difference then in how you relate to the world, and then how the world shows up in your experience by the quality of your beliefs. And you start to become more at peace with the world when you just gently start releasing those old beliefs that it's something that you need to protect yourself from. And then we can also start adding in, when you catch yourself thinking the thoughts, I can't handle this anymore, I'm overwhelmed, this is horrible, I need to withdraw, I need to isolate, I'm going to go home and be by myself, we start to drop those thoughts. We redirect our attention to something else, and we start to instill, I'm always safe. I'm always safe. Safety is where I live. Safety and peace of mind are where I exist. I am always safe. Everything is okay. Everything is okay. I am okay. My body is okay. Right? You feel the difference in those, and really reinforcing them. And then through practice and repetition, they will become, again, unconscious. They go back into the predictive, right? For that 10%, they start as sensory, where we're having to, consciously tell ourselves this stuff, and until they sink down into our predictive, the subconscious. So the subconscious belief bank. And then that's naturally how we feel. Then that kind of manifests as how we naturally feel all the time, without having to try, without having to provide the sensory bit. So let me know what you thought. Go ahead and comment, drop a comment below. Grab that free training series if you want to dive deeper into stepping into this whole complete version of yourself and not needing to do behaviors like isolating, so that you can go out in the world and experience and live and have a great time, and not need to put that wall up, that protection between yourself and the world. So check that out, grab it below in the description box, and thanks for watching.